Welcome to my extremely messy workspace where we make beautiful things. Let's have a look what we're going to make today. So here we are at the table, my friends, and let's have a look what we're going to make. I've been making these beautiful little wreath pendants for your neckline. How cute are these? Yeah, beautiful. So really easy to make with 4mm beads, 8/0 seed beads, leaf beads if you have them. If you don't, it doesn't matter. Bit of chain, improvise, see how you get on. And we're going to be using some lovely, big, fat, lovely, glorious copper washers. All right, so join me and we'll go through a list of materials. Okay, so let's go through a very quick list of materials for the things that you're going to need to make these lovely pendants. So the first thing you're going to need is a relatively decent size copper washer. Now I got these from my hardware store. I have a little collection of different sizes, different widths, that kind of thing. You can, purchase these for not a lot of money. And so you're going to need a decent one. I will let you know the size of this one, which is, let's have a look, about 3.5 centimeters across, which is about 1.25 inches. All right, so something like that, something pendant size. You don't need to, it doesn't have to be prescriptive, just something that's large enough, for a pendant. You're also going to need wires. So today I'm going to be using 0.4 in order to wrap the beads, and then a 0.5 for the pretty scrolly, wire work around it. Okay, so those two sizes. You're also going to need some beads. So I'm using 4mm, and these are just a dyed jade, a really pretty pink colour. And you're also going to need some size 8/0 seed beads. So I shall be using these today just because I think they're pretty. As you know, I do like my seed beads in jewellery. What else are you going to need? You're going to need some jump rings. Now for the chain, I've used 3mm internal diameter. To attach the chain to the disc, the washer, you're going to need some 5mm jump rings. Okay, so 3s and 5s, and these have both been made with 1mm wire, 18 gauge wire. And what else? Let's have a think. You're just going to need your tools. So your usual tools, snippers, cutters, chain nose pliers, that kind of thing. I'll be using my 6-step bell making plier because I use it all the time and it's just handy for me. And that's about it, my friends. So I'll clear the table away and we'll get going, and we'll make one of these absolutely gorgeous pendants. So I'll see you in a few. Right, so let's get going. So take your large copper washer, give it a bash. I like to give mine a little bit of a bash because it gives it a really pretty texture, doesn't it? Nice and shiny, and gives it some texture. So give it a bash. This is about 1.25 inches across. Yep, which constitutes just over 3 centimeters. All right, so if that's, you're wanting to know the exact dimensions of it, that's what it is. But again, just use what you like. Find out if there's any sharp edges on it. If there is, come in with a little emery board or your little file. Just give it a bit of a file. Okay, so let's quickly run into this. I don't want to make this an exhaustive video because I often get told off for talking too much. You know who you are. So let's take our beads. So I'm using just little pink dyed jade, I think these are, 4mm. Not expensive. We don't like to spend too much money, do we, these days? So, don't spend too much money. Come in with your 0.4mm. And I think you're going to want a decent length because we're going to be wrapping 3 beads. And to do that, we're going to have 4 wraps in between and on each end. So I'm going to suggest probably, let's have a measure, 30... 40, 50, I don't know, 50 centimeters. You might have a bit left over, but you know what, always better to have too much than not enough. 50 centimeters is 12 12, 20 inches, give or take. All right, so the first thing we do is to secure this wire over the top of our washer here. So, and I've like 3 or 4 wraps in between, I think, makes it nice and secure. So wrap it around 4 times, then back up like so. Squish together. Don't worry about that little end for now. So you have this. Come in with your first bead, your first 4mm. Pop that on like so. Whee! All the way down. And we want to sit it on top of the washer like so. And then we want to wrap again 4 times. All right, so you've got 4 times on either side of the bead. So 1, that's 1. We will be squishing this up. So try and keep it squished up if you can. That's number 2. Number 3. And number 4. Wonderful. So, and then squish up with your nails so that you have 4 good wraps on either side of your bead. So that secures it in place. So we'll come in with these really, really pretty seed beads. Okay, so these are by Preciosa, if you wanted to know. Size 8, pearl cream seed beads. I like to use these a lot just because I think they're very elegant and very pretty. So, obviously, all seed beads aren't made the same, are they? Generally, the good brands are pretty decent in consistency, but I'm going to say between 10 and 11 beads will go round a 4mm. Okay, so I'm going to go for 10 and we'll see how we get on. So what's that for? 7, 8, 9 and 10. Let's see how that works. And then drop those down. All right, and then bring them over the top like so. So we're wanting to be wrapping these beads around your 4mm. So wrap, 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 bend, 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 so that we get to about here. Yeah, I'm thinking 10 should be fine. And then just wrap that little, you've got this last bead here, wrap your 4mm underneath it. All right, and then just give it a bit of a tug, not too taut. You're going to have a little bit of a space there, but it doesn't matter. And then through. You want 4 wraps again in between. All right, so we have this. There's your little flower. Beautiful. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right, so again, push those up and then pop your next bead on. It's as simple as that. And then let it fall down and sight it on the top of your washer. Now don't forget that we're wrapping 3 of these little flowers. So you want a little space in between here so that you've got space to fit your next lot of seed beads on. All right, so don't wrap it too tightly, too close, should I say. And then again, 4 wraps. 1 and 2 and 3 and then 4. So that's 4 wraps. And then just excuse me, just slide these up. Again, come in with 10 beads, 10 of your little seed beads. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. There we go. Just pop those back for now and slide them down. And again, so we want to bring them over like so and then wrap these around, making sure that you've left enough space in between, which we have just about. So can you see how those little beads, sort of like a zipper, they fit in? I like them to be relatively close together. But you can design design how you like. If you want 2 on one side and 3 on another, entirely up to you. This is just an idea for you, don't forget. And then when you've done that, wrap 4 times again. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Squish up. Okay, so how does that look? That's quite pretty, isn't it? Let's have our last bead on. So I'm only doing these with 3 at the bottom. 3 little flower motifs on the bottom, but you can, like I say, you can do more if you want. Just entirely up to you. Attach that last bead by wrapping 4 times. So sit the bead on the top and then wrap 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, hopefully we'll have enough wire left. I think we probably will have. Just about. Lovely. Okay, so we'll do our last 10 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. There we go. Let's pop those to one side and they're not in the way. I love this little tray. It's great for keeping things in place. Right, so let's bob these over the top again. Wrap, 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 wrap around. Hopefully you've left enough space in between, which I have. Can you see? Brilliant. And just pop that little bit of 0.4 just underneath that top bead, that last bead there. Pull taut, not too taut so that you snap your wire, okay? And then wrap 4 times. We just have enough wire. So what did I say? 50 centimetres, 12, 20, maybe try 22 inches just to be on the safe side. Because that literally is nothing left. I couldn't have got that any closer, could I? Brilliant. All right, so we have our 3 little beads, 3 little flowers attached to our large jump ring. All right, so the next thing you do is just come in at the back and very carefully snip off the excess, of which there isn't very much. I'm quite proud of myself there. That's very economic use of wire, I would say, wouldn't you? Well done, Sammy. And then just come in with your favourite pliers and just give that a bit of a squish down. Now we're going to be wrapping over these, so to be fair, doesn't matter too much. Give it just a bit of a squish down, that's fine. Lovely. Now I mean, you can have that at the bottom. I don't know if you remember the pair of earrings that I made quite a long time ago, actually. This is a variation on a theme. I'll put the link to those up here somewhere. And I had, these at the bottom. But you can quite happily have them on the side. I think they're quite nice on the side like so. Makes it a little bit sort of asymmetric, do you think? Looks quite pretty. All right, so let's get the next part done. So I will just get the wire involved and I'll come back to you in a second. Have fun making this, cute. Okay, so excuse the doggy barking in the background. It's not mine, it's a neighbour's dog, and he's decided he wants to use this afternoon to do a bit of barking. He's usually pretty good, but there you go. So this is the next part that we come to. So the 2 ways of doing this, you can either just have it without leaves, but if you're lucky enough to have some of these little leaf beads, good time to put them on is now. And I think these look pretty cute on, on the wreath here, like so. So if you've got some of those, you can put them on. These ones attach through the centre. I think they're very, very pretty. So you can just, wire wrap these on if you want to at this stage, which I will do on this particular pendant, like so. Oh, doggy. Oh, doggy. So just wrap them on with a couple of wraps, just to make sure that they're secure. Like I say, we're going to be wrapping like a wreath, or not wreath, what's it called? Like vines around this. So just wrap them on Again, I'm using 0.4. I mean, these are just ideas for you. So obviously, if you've got these little leaf beads, go for it. If you don't, it doesn't matter. You can even make little leaf shapes out of wire if you wanted to. Oh, he's not happy, this doggy, is he? There you go. Never mind. So let's wrap that one that way, shall we? So, you know, just do whatever your heart desires. Wrap it around a couple of times, like so. Just secure it on. Tighten that up like that. Just, you know, organically. Just, you know, whatever you like. I like this kind of design because you can just do whatever you please and, you know, it looks pretty. Let's pop that to the side like that. It's going in the same direction, isn't it? No, not keen on that. Let's unwrap that. I'm going to leave things like mistakes in my videos because, you know, it's good to see that things aren't perfect. There you go. So let's have that the opposite way. So that's fine. You know, if you make a mistake, design error, whatever, just go back in and, you know, start again. There you go. That's quite pretty. So just snap, snap, snip, snap, snip. Snip these off. Like so. Right, so we have our little wreath taking shape here. Now then, I'm going to come in with some 0.5. I'll put the gauge equivalents in the description box, guys, because I use millimeters, obviously being a European, and I quite often, you know, do try and remember to put gauge equivalents in, but I forget sometimes. So I'm going to cut off, let me just have a look at my 20 inches, something like that. I've got a board under here with inch measurements on, and just fold it in two, like so. You can use two separate lengths of wire if you want to, but you know, just one length of wire and bend it in two. You don't need too much because we're just going to, you know, scroll things around. So if you have a look at your design, pop it, you know, on the table and think about where you want your beads to sit. I've got my chain starting here at the top. So wherever you start, you're going to want a little bit of a gap for your jump rings at the top here. Mainly because with this particular size of washer, my 5mm jump rings just fit, don't they? So I'm going to start my wrapping around about this area here. All right, so I just literally pop my wire onto here, like so, and just always keep it nice and, you know, tidy if you can. So we're just going to be doing whatever we fancy. So keeping the wires parallel, I'm just going to be, you know, winding things round like a vine with different shapes, popping them underneath and through like so, like so. Wrap around so that you've got, you know, little shapes. Just do what you feel. So if you've got some, you know, some of these lovely leaf beads, you can sort of partially wrap over the top if you wanted to, which we'll have a look. Yeah, it looks quite pretty. Just keep bending them round, you know, over the top kind of thing, just at the side, back underneath. So this is the part just where your imagination takes over and you sort of go where the wire takes you, really. And the beauty of wire is that, you know, you can shift it around a little bit, pull it out, pull it down, move it around to your heart's content. So I'm going to go under here back through. So you can make it as intricate or as, you know, sort of bold as you feel. And just really just do what takes your fancy. So I'm just doing this on the fly here. Doesn't matter. That's it. Back through under there. You might want a little bit more wire perhaps. I've just used 20 inches, but you know, maybe use 30 inches perhaps, because I'm running a little short here, but that's okay. And then around here, just gonna have enough, I think, like so. And then round, let's go the other way this time. No, we'll do, because I am running a little short, but that doesn't matter, you know, doesn't matter. Just a lesson there to make sure that you've got enough, because obviously I'm just doing this on the fly, so I'm doing it literally live in front of you. So there we go. How pretty is that? So let's chop these off. Don't forget, I'm not an expert at any of this. I'm just sitting down and letting you have a look at the things I've been making. Sometimes, you know, when you're recording, you know, things aren't perfect. It just shows that we're all human, doesn't it? But you know what? It's turned out really, really pretty as that, despite the fact I kind of almost ran out of wire. So do what you like. Just, you know, have fun, make things for the fun of it. So there's our pendant with the little leaves, similar to the pendant without the leaves, you know, and use more wire, 30, 40 inches perhaps, to, you know, to make all sorts of scrolls and things like that. And then I'm going to come in with my little chain that I'm making here. So I've literally just used little links with 5 little beads to match those ones there. I don't need to show you how to make those, I don't think, unless you want me to. And if you do, just let me know in the comments and I'll quite happily do that. But I'm just making the chain for this one. There we go. So just attach it with your 5mm jump rings. Just literally open up the jump rings. I'm hoping I'm on camera because it's quite bright in here today and I'm struggling to see whether I am actually in frame or not. So I know I will find out when I am editing, which is a process. There you go. So how does that look? So you've got your little chain going on. Absolutely gorgeous, I think. I mean, look at that for a beautiful summery, you know, wreath, pendant that you can wear around your neck. How gorgeous is that? I really, really think these are really, really pretty, don't you? There you go. So have fun making these. Let me know how you get on. If you want to share what you've been making, we do have a private Facebook group where it's an extremely safe space. If you want to join, I will put the link in the description box. The only thing I ask you to do is to agree to the group rules before I'll accept you in. Just keeps everybody safe and sound. You know, if you make one of these, let us have a look. Show us in the group. So have a super, super week and I will see you in my next video. It's an absolute joy to have you here as always. Bye guys.